Welcome to the first episode of Without Permission, a podcast about women and men who build things on their own terms without waiting for someone to hand them a script. I'm Vaishnavi, and this episode, sit down with someone special who decided to stop asking for permission and start figuring it out by themselves. No inherited blueprints, no official green light. Just a lot of courage, a few wrong turns, and the kind of clarity that only comes from actually doing the thing. Today's guest is someone I'm lucky enough to know up close, and I think you're going to love her. Radha, welcome to today's episode. You're a close friend, an entrepreneur, and a quietly impressive community builder. You're a founder of a supper club that's exactly what it sounds like, and so much more than that. A community table that's built around food, conversation, and genuine connection. What strikes me most about you is your warmth. You have a way of making everyone feel like they belong even before they sit down. And a vision and a taste to boot that makes everything you touch feel intentional. Lately, I've also been really impressed by just how much gets done when you put your mind to it. Quietly and without asking anyone for a green light, you just build. I'd love to start by just having you, in your own words, give us a little bit about yourself.
Oh my goodness, I don't know how to follow that now.
I had to. With the first episode, I was sitting on this for so long. I'm so glad I was able to.
I am so, first and foremost, I am so glad you're finally doing this. We've talked about this forever. So I'm really, really, really happy that you're doing this. Okay, a little bit about myself. So, oh my God, where do I begin? I feel like I have somewhat lost and rediscovering myself all over again at this stage in my life.
I love that.
Forever. It's always been, I'm an IT professional. I'm a daughter of very proud parents, two sisters, parent to two amazing kids, a lovely husband, a wonderful husband of 25 years who's been very supportive, and an IT professional.
It's a big part of your life and mine, so I
So
completely get that.
that
Yeah.
was almost like 20, 30 years of my life is what I identified myself as.
Yeah.
And this past year, and I don't want to say this past year something changed. I think something to do creatively has been niggling at me for a few years now. I think it's the rise of social media, looking at people just changing their lives, being on social media, just listening to things that they're doing. And I did think about a lot of different things, and nothing really sat well with me. Like it didn't ring true to me, to what I really wanted to do. So I just kept sitting on the fence. I think this was a few years. It's not like a month or two. This was like at least 5, 6 years I've been sitting on the fence, like not really
Wow.
knowing where this is going, because I didn't think that this is it for me. Like I'm going to be an IT professional for the rest of my life. I have a very good life. I have no complaints. But at the same time, I didn't feel like I have done something. I wanted to do something slightly different, and I have not done that. Anyway, whether it was fate or luck, or how social media listens to everything, your thoughts even these days, I started seeing a lot of reels and posts about supper clubs come up. And something that I've been doing at home anyway, like I host all the time. I host my friends. You've come over with Manish.
Yes.
Your parents have come. I love to cook. I love to experiment on my friends. I love to bring twists to my recipes. I don't like to cook the same food. My family doesn't get the same basic food every day. We cook basic food very rarely in this house, which they appreciate. But sometimes, like, can you just go back to like basic sambar and rice, please? So we don't do that often. So I do that every now and then. They worry that I'll forget how to cook those. So we do go back.
Where's the man's poor meals? Where's the daily?
So I sometimes go back to those, but 99% of the time I'm cooking something different and I don't write them down. That's another pet peeve of my kids, that I don't write anything down. I don't follow recipes either.
Can I exchange lives with them? I'd be completely.
Yeah. But anyway, so that sort of started niggling in the back of my head. I was like, can I do this? And I was talking. The first person I talked to was Karan. I was like, Karan's like, yeah, of course, this makes sense. I mean, you cook and you host. It doesn't seem like anything different. He didn't put a lot of heaviness into it. I felt like he took it very easily, saying, "Yeah, this makes perfect sense. And try it out, see if you like it, and then we go from there." I'm like, okay. And I showed him a bunch of reels of people doing this, and he's like, this is what they're doing, and I would love to like expand the table beyond our close friends and just have more people at the table. This is a way to get to meet new people. I think that to me was the biggest thing, that not getting a chance to meet new folks. Like at this
Yeah.
stage, when your kids are older, one is in university, one is in high school, you don't have play dates, you don't go to the parks, you don't have any sort of connections, which are, it's hard to make connections outside your kids sometimes.
Yeah.
And we have been working
Yeah.
from home since COVID hit. Like we haven't gone back to work. That's our
Yeah.
choice. So we have not, no one's forcing us, so we don't go. Technically, we could
Yeah.
go, we don't. So it's really hard to meet people, make new connections, make new friends. I was just craving that feeling of community, making new connections, bringing new people at the table. Anyway,
Yeah.
so outside of Kannan, the first person I talked to was you. I called you. I remember still, I think it was the 1st or 2nd of August.
I do too.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was just before the long weekend in August. I said, "Hey, Vaish, I'm thinking about this." And I'll say this. I don't know why I felt like I can just say this and you won't turn around and judge me and you won't say that this doesn't make sense.
Mm.
Don't do this. I don't know. I just felt this security that I can just say it. I can blurt it to you
Yeah.
and see where it lands. Because I did want to talk to a few people. I didn't want to just start.
Yeah.
It wasn't about asking permission. It was more about like, is it even making sense? Like it, or is it just
Thanks for saying that.
right? It just has to make sense in my. It was making sense in my head, and I've in the last few years I've started to trust my instincts and gut more and more. So I was like, but
Mm.
still, I wanted to run it by a few people. So you're one of the first person I talked to, and then you go, well, sounds like a plan. I don't know what supper club is, but I'm free on the 17th of August.
I know. I know. And I'm
Wait,
so
what?
thrilled because
And that's that day, my first call to you, we
Mm.
decided we're going to do our first supper club on August 17th. That's it. We didn't
Mhm.
think what the menu is going to be, what it's going to look like. I'm going to cook South Indian, North Indian, whatever different anything Indian rooted food. We didn't think,
That's true.
right? We just said we're going to do it. And he said, I'm going to show up. I'll bring Manish and I'll bring a couple of other friends and we'll go from there. I said, okay then.
Mm.
And that's how this whole thing started.
I I love that. I think one of those things that you mentioned when you talked to your husband, Kannan, about the
Yeah.
idea, there was a phrase that you said, he took it lightly, but at the same time, he just kind of went with it. And that's how I felt our conversation. And I know now that I was the first person that you spoke to. I remember you saying you were a bit nervous and you were thinking through this. But I think I felt the same way Kanan did. And the reason it was light was because it was so right. You embodied everything that I could think of about this idea. And like you said, I'd never heard of Supper Club before, but everything that you talked about in this concept seemed so you.
Yeah.
So you're already sitting there and doing that.
Yeah.
And so take me back to that time where maybe the first night of the Supper Club. Let's kind of go to that versus what you imagined when you had those first conversations with Kanan and me and your
Yeah.
kids.
So, I mean, yeah, it was like she built a pros and cons list. That's her. She does all this analytical stuff for me. It's like
Your
if you
daughter.
should,
Yeah.
so if I should do it or not do it, she had this whole pros and cons list.
Yeah. That's
The
awesome.
thing is always like, we got you. It's like he never goes too deep into anything, but he is someone who will always stand behind us. Like he's got our backs.
Yeah.
He's that kid. Then after that, like long story short, I did speak to few other friends. One
Yeah.
was Sarah Mir, who I think you met during the first supper club.
Yeah.
I mentioned it to her and I said, Sarah, what do you think? And she goes, it makes sense, Radha. It makes complete sense you're doing this. It's like, it was almost like a light bulb moment with her as well. It's like, duh,
Yeah.
yes, do this.
And she went on to help you
Yeah,
with it
I
as
said,
well.
like, I don't know if I'm going to do this on social media. I don't want to post anything. I was not a social media person at all. Like I have like 200 followers on like my personal account. I rarely posted anything.
Okay, I'm laughing because this
Very
is
different.
so
It's very different.
yeah.
Not even a year in. It's a very different person you're talking to. But yeah, but
so savvy, so
no.
into
I don't
it.
think I'm still savvy. I'm still figuring it out. But Sarah did say, you know what, you post or you don't post, I'm going to come record everything for you. And she is very good at these things. And then I
Right.
talked to other friends of mine. I called Vaish, another friend, close friend of mine of Vaish. I said, she's like, I have to tell you something. She got really scared that something's wrong. She actually showed up at my house, like, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing's wrong. So we actually, she really thought something was wrong.
What the new boots?
Yeah, she thought
Oh,
something was
no.
wrong. I was like, nothing's wrong. And then we went for a walk and I explained it to her. She goes, oh, this makes sense. I have somebody in UK who does this. Do you want to connect with them? I was like, sure. So it was just every time I spoke and I kept building on that, I couldn't find anyone who turned around and said like this doesn't make any sense. Like, everybody said, like, this is the first time I'm hearing a lot of people said they weren't aware of what supper club was. People in my close knit community
Yeah.
didn't know what it was. I spoke to Sita, who also got invited to the same table as you. She's like, I don't know what this means, Radha. I was like, this is what it means, Sita. Just come eat my food, which you do already. So it's not something different. You just come to my house, bring your friends, and you eat your food. Anyway, so that's how it kind of happened. We stuck to the August 17th date. I will never forget that date. You guys showed up. The night before, oh my God, I wasn't sure what to do because to you, I mean, I don't have a
Yeah.
blueprint. There
Yeah.
are people who post how to host a supper club and how to do this and how to do that. And my biggest issue or uh, the lack thereof is following directions. I don't. I go by instinct. A lot of it
Yeah.
has to feel right for me.
It's the pro and con of
Yeah,
it
it's the
as
pro
well,
and
right?
con
It
of it. I
needs
can't, if
to.
somebody says this is how you run a supper club, I'll probably
Yeah.
do the exact opposite of it. I don't
Yeah.
follow instructions. I will take on a generic idea and I'll kind of take the blueprint of it, like a very skeletal idea of it, and I go with that. But I won't follow like checklist and tick box and all of that. I'm not that person. I'm
Mhm.
still not that
Yeah.
person. But yeah, it was. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to invest too much. I don't even know if this is going to go anywhere. I don't know if people are going to show up. I don't know who's going to come. Once I run out of my friends who are going to show up to these dinners, then what
Yeah.
am I going to do? I don't want to put in a
Mhm.
whole bunch of money and buy things and then it just sits in my house. More things, I don't want to accumulate more things. So it's like, okay, this is what I have. I can host 6 people. I have everything for 6 people. I think I invested in some like a bunch of new cutlery. I had like this whole dinner set that my friends gifted to me like 10 years ago, which I never really used. I used it twice. Am I going to bring that out and make sure that I make it look nice? Did the menu, set the
Yeah.
table. I did the very basic South Indian for first supper club. And I said, you know what? This food, I have no concerns. I can cook this food. That's not a problem. It's like how
Right.
to present it, how to plate it. Never done all of that. I'm not very good at tablescaping. I don't build tablescape.
Which is incredible for me because as a person who does not cook as much at all, that's the part that would obviously that's the reason I
It's
don't
never
join a supper club,
intimidating.
right? For you, that's the easy
That's the
part, and
easy.
everything else.
Yeah.
We talked a bit about this, but remind me, are you an overthinker?
Uh, in some cases, I am. In
Okay.
some cases, I probably should think a little bit more. I don't. But for the most part, I think you know this about me, even at work. I like to move things forward. I don't like
Yeah.
to analyze and wait for perfection. That I have learned
That's true.
very early in life. I've never waited for perfection for on anything. Like I'm
Yeah.
okay with, if it's good enough to go out, let it go out. We can always refine it. Like I'm not saying it has to be mediocre for it to go out, but the idea
Mhm.
is if we keep harping on perfection all the time, like everything has to be
Yeah.
perfect, the menu has to be perfect, the table has to be perfect,
Right.
everything has to be perfect. I don't think we would be having this conversation today. I don't think this would have happened. For me, it was food was non issue because that's something that I've done all like for the longest
But
time.
I think that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just the table. And I'm like, what am I doing with the table? I didn't know how to set a table. I didn't have like a Pinterest boards of tablescapes and colors and this and that and everything. It's like, okay, I'm just going to go with, okay, it's South Indian. Usually it's green and red and gold and all those
Mhm.
things kind of go together. It's a very earthy colors. I always gravitate towards earthy colors. I was like, okay, I'm just going to do that and see how this goes. And I went with it. I'm like, okay, this makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. Anyway, the night before, I was like, set the table. I was like, okay, the table was starting to look really good. I was like, I can't believe I'm actually doing this. I'm so nervous. And I talked to Sarah a few times. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, Sarah. How am I going to host these people? She goes, why are you worried about hosting? Like, you host people all the time. So stop thinking,
Just be
just
yourself.
be yourself.
Is that
Just think what it is. Just don't think what you're doing as a supper club, but you're just hosting a dinner party, which you do, which you always do. You do like sometimes once a month. It's not something that you don't do this. So it's very natural
Mhm.
for you. You are a good host. That's it. But yeah, nervous energy was around, definitely. But I also
You know?
think nervousness is required if you care about something. If you care about something
Yeah.
deeply, you should be a little bit nervous about it being good enough.
That's a really good thread. I heard this recently where that anxiety, that nervousness potentially, if you convert that into something that can actually be an engine to what you're doing,
Yeah.
it's useful to your point. That's I feel like that's kind of how it rolled. And I want to say this, which is I think one of the most impressive things. It's almost been a year, and I don't know if you will know better than me, but from where I'm sitting, I don't know if too much has changed from what you did at the beginning to now in terms of just and that shows how much you were just kind of ready to do it. It's just it kind of came out as a full grown human baby. As a full that's such a funny way of
Yeah.
saying it, but a full grown thing. And I think a lot of people, to your point, there's that overthinking, or there's that wondering of like, am I doing this right, am I doing this well, and which unfortunately stops from actually getting to that next step of actually just doing it. And it's interesting because you and I have talked about this. You've a woman's life especially orbits around a lot of things, children, partners, parents. There's stages to every life. And it's curious how that sequence worked well for the right time to the right place, and how things have shifted. What have you found since that fifth supper club to be true for your life? That's probably something you may not have thought of before. And how do you see life now?
I think what I find true about a lot, one thing that I really think, and I think this is a good place to actually mention this because this question comes to me, and people actually say this to me a lot now.
You
It's
can
like,
ask this, yeah.
how and what made you do this, or how do you even manage all this, etc. Like there's, some version of this question comes up,
Yeah.
regardless of what conversation it doesn't even have to be around the table. It can be, I've gone to an event, I've gone out for lunch, or I'm interviewing somebody for a different role. Like somebody will ask this question, it's like, how do you even manage? And and like, how did
So
you
easy
start?
to
What
do.
did you do? Like all of those
Yeah.
things, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to make sure that I connected back to the question. Like, so the one thing I feel it's important for, and I heard this somewhere in one of the podcasts, I can't remember which one, today, especially today, in this day and age,
Hmm.
with so much technology at your disposal, there is no harm in just trying it out.
Yeah.
You can fail miserably. You can fail at it, and you can fail and recover very, very fast.
Right.
I think unless you are going in with $1 million investment, you're taking on a lease, you're starting a restaurant, for example. A lot of people tell me you should start a restaurant. Like, I don't think that's ever going to happen. At least not. It's not my money going in. Somebody will say, yes,
Oh,
I'll do
okay.
it.
Never say
I ain't
never.
doing it. I ain't
Yeah.
investing money on in a restaurant. If somebody else wants to back me up, I'm all for it, but not me. But
It's
the
a tough
idea is,
decision.
unless you're getting in that kind of a capital bind, I don't see a reason why you're worried.
Yeah.
Just take my example. Okay, I started a supper club. I did the first one. Second one, again, one friend said she's going to fill the table. She brought 7 of her friends. We filled the table. We went from 6 to 8 in the second dinner itself.
Right.
Third,
Yeah.
old office colleagues showed up. Fourth, 2 other friends brought their friends. Then the table filled. And then what? It could have been like, okay, we're done now because I'm running out of friends now because I don't have that many friends, and they keep filling my table month after month. But I could have easily stopped at that point, and nothing would have changed.
I mean, the kicker is now it's a 16-person table
Yeah,
and there's a wait
yeah. So
list.
we'll get to that. But the idea is like I could have easily, like for me, the one thing that kept me going
Right.
was this is not.
It's
It's
2 seconds
not.
is the
If
end.
it
Is this the
stops
end? Yeah.
tomorrow, will I be
Yeah.
sad? Yes, but I'm not going to be devastated. I'm not going to be broken financially or physically. I'm going to go find something else to do because I know now that I can do something with my time. Right? Like I
Yeah.
think that's the part that I find. Like what's changed? The change is that I have that confidence that I'm not tying my worth down to being an IT professional or a supper club owner or a mother or a wife or a daughter. I am all of those things combined. I'm not
Yeah.
one. And I'm happy to
Yeah.
even expand further. Like we talk about this, like what is next for me? Like next, what am I going to do next? right? Like we
Yeah.
talk about this. I run a whole bunch of ideas through you all the time. So like it's
Yeah.
always like evolution of what the next step is.
Mm.
Because now I feel like I have the confidence of I'm okay if I do something and I'm not successful. I don't expect everything to be successful. Of course, I'm going to fail at a lot of things. And I have failed in a lot of things in the past. If that happens,
I think that's important too. Yeah.
yeah,
So I just, one of the things that I think you've earned is, I say this, I say, as soon as you get an idea, you go ahead and implement it, which is, it sounds simple. It is true as it is, but it also is years of probably innately understanding and failing and understanding innately that this is something that you can do and kind of go ahead rather than consciously being
yeah.
worried about.
I think I have had that confidence on the food side for a long time. Like I
Yeah,
don't have to test recipes. I know a lot of people do a lot of testing, and kudos to them. I really appreciate people who test a lot of new things before they put it in front of people.
absolutely.
Restaurants do it, and I bow down to them. I don't have the patience for it. I unfortunately don't. But I have, and I
Yeah,
don't want to sound boastful, but I have the ability to really imagine and understand the flavor because I've eaten
yeah,
a version of that food in a different way. Like I can always
yeah,
imagine like combining things
right.
which others wouldn't have thought about. Like
Yeah,
just to give an example of combining an Italian gnocchi with a South Indian usli for this past Tambram dinner, even it blew my mind. I'm like, wait, what am I thinking? How is this even going to be possible? And I told Karan, he's like, what are you talking about? So anyway, I said, okay, let's test this out. So we test that one. We tested because it was so out there. But it literally
yeah,
took me 10 minutes to make that because I had usli in the fridge. It was like, okay, let me just whip this up and see what this tastes like. And it
mhm,
blew our minds at how good it tasted, that we can actually do this. We can actually serve this to people and they're going to be happy about it. And that was one dish
yeah,
that kept getting talked about, like how easy it is to actually do this. And we don't have to wait and make that laborious, dough for the
yeah,
corkatay every single time we have to do this. So it's just
yeah,
that confidence from a cooking side I've always had. I think now that confidence is slowly lending itself to other parts of the business as well. Like, how can I now grow this brand beyond just a table at my house? A small,
and that's what it
like,
is now. It's a business.
now it has turned into something bigger than just, I cook at home and I host people to I host a supper club.
Yeah,
It's become a real thing now.
and the reason that I think, the way you were saying, I'm confident about the art, about the craft of what I'm doing, and then building the business around it. I think a lot of people would understand that. I understand that. Like, even with this, like you were saying, talking about without permissions and saying, this is the theme, this is the idea I have. And I know I'm very clear about the theme and my belief in it. And it's about making that into a reality and implementing it. And I love what you said. I think taking it a step at a time, just not having an all or nothing mindset.
Absolutely.
You don't want
I would actually kind of zone in on the word without permission. We talked about this.
to, yeah,
So somewhere in the universe, this got connected back to a reel that I posted back in, I think, January, and I sent that reel back to you as well. It's on my Instagram. It talked about how this whole thing started. It
yeah,
wasn't about waiting for permission. It was never about permission. I didn't
yeah,
wait for someone to say, yes, go do it, or I'm waiting for someone to say, yes, you're allowed to do it, or anything. It was really about taking something that I know that I'm very good at seriously and be okay to put it out there in the world and share it with the community and be brave to share
yeah,
it with the community and open yourself out open yourself to the people outside your small group of people, your
yeah,
closest people, right? Of course friends will come, of course, your family will support you, but I think going beyond that, I think that's where the nervousness comes in. Like, are people going to pay? Are people going to show up? Cost of living is going up. Why are they going to come here? But at the same time, what I've discovered, at least from a supper club side of things, people crave these kind of spaces now because it's more
yeah.
intimate, it's more curated, it's very there's a lot of attention. It's not
Mhm.
as commercial as a restaurant, as you don't have like 50 people sitting at like, five different tables and five different angles. It's still a community table. And we try to maintain that no matter how the table has grown from 6 to 16, we have kept that feeling of community from the first day. Like this is a communal table. We all want to come together. Feel confident to come by yourself. I have attended supper club all by myself. without asking anyone to come with me. And I've sat with strangers and I've had food. It was, call it research, call it whatever you want, but it was, I just wanted to go experience it myself. Like, how does it feel like to be a guest? And
Yeah.
if someone's thinking of doing
It's
that, they should do that first. Go experience it. How does it feel like to be a guest? How you're treated. I think that's a big thing that sort of sticks with
yeah.
you.
I love that. There's something to be said about visibility, right? Like a woman after a certain age, we hear this more all the time. It's you start to feel invisible, and I remember you were saying, and not a commentary on anything else, but the focus of one day you were sitting at home, your kids were busy, your husband was out there doing an activity, and you're sitting and wondering, why am I sitting home? Who's making me sit home? And we're in a privileged position. This is, of course, when we're looking at a global perspective, a lot of people don't have that choice, but we're in that privileged position to ask that question. And almost, this keeps coming back to me, almost giving yourself permission to do something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and this was the catalyst that pushed me in this direction. Like, I am sitting at home on a Friday evening doing nothing, literally doom scrolling, wasting my time. Like, nothing is coming out of it. I'm not growing. I'm not making money. I'm just sitting and wasting my time. And everyone's doing what's important for them. And I'm not blaming my family to do what's important for them, whether they are hanging out with friends or playing a round of golf or going and running a side business or whatever they're doing. They're doing because they're passionate about it and they want to go do it. No one's stopping me from doing anything. I was just
Exactly.
not going and doing anything. I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I can't keep doing this. And then long, that's when this whole thing was like, out of this doom scrolling, here we are. The supper club started like showing up on my feed, and more and more, we started seeing this. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this is what it's going to look like. Mm.
I like that. And I don't know if that's very much I'm not going to say it's a fault of ours that that's sitting and figuring it out and then going in. You spent a lot of years focusing on different
Yeah.
things, focusing on your career and your kids, and there's that habit that gets formed that you suddenly realize, like, I say this and I don't know if it's actually like a pang in your heart, but when I say you're almost an empty nester sometimes, I can see it stops you in your conversation as well. So, but it's true, right? We're kind of changing. And now when you're talking about going and checking out other supper clubs or going and doing, there's intention behind what you're doing. You feel like there's an importance and a weight to being somewhere, being present and figuring some things out.
There's
Um,
always something to learn. That's the way I see it, right? There are people who have
yeah,
done this before me, who've been doing this a lot longer than I have. I am all
yeah,
about learning. It's never about like, I want to go copy somebody. I want to do something that they're doing. That's never about that for me. First of all, I
that's good.
cannot do it if it doesn't feel true to me. I try to keep my table very distinct, very unique because it's true to me. I do it because I like it. It may resemble someone else's recipe, it may resemble someone else's menu. All possible because we all get influenced by something, right? The things we see online, the things we see in person, we're all influenced by something. Our thought process is influenced by something. But I never intentionally go out and try to emulate or copy
Yeah.
a particular style of table or a particular style of menu. I think that's sometimes my downside too. I mean, a lot of supper clubs doing really, really well stick to a very similar menu and are exceptionally successful. Me, on the other hand, keep switching things around because I get bored. No one's telling me to not do it. I'm the one
Right.
who's bored, is like, oh, I can't do
Challenging
anything
yourself
again.
and
And I like to exactly. I like to challenge myself. I want to do new things. I want to
yeah.
do different things. I don't want to do the same menu month after month. So the menu evolves constantly because I get very
Mm.
excited. It's like, oh my God, I want to try
Yeah.
this now and see how that works out. So,
Yeah. There's something you said before, and I didn't even think of taking the conversation here, but it's interesting, and I think that's also universal. Is COVID changed a lot of things for a lot of people, and there's also the sense of there's a lesser sense of shininess to new things, or having passion to start something new, or building things out. But at the same time, COVID opened up opportunities like these. Like, for example, a supper club is great. It's people are more homely. They want something that's comforting and that's cozy and it's warm. And so I think there's this dichotomy, and I'm sure we can talk about how the economy plays into it as well, which it 100% does. But I think out of strife, there's a reason that we say, right? Out of strife, things are born and things are moved forward. And I feel like there's that butterfly effect that has come down to this for you, for example, that's made things a reality. And do you think there were moments earlier in your life where you knew you would be here at some point?
No, I have always, funny, if I could have gone back, if I'll go back to my 20s and say, where I want to be, or even in my teens, I always
Yeah.
thought, I would have loved to be a singer or a dancer. I love art in
Mm,
all forms.
yeah,
I love it. I still do. But
I can see
cannot
that.
sing to save my life. I dance, but I dance for fun. I mean, like, I've had zero coaching on dance. I've had a little bit of coaching in singing.
I mean, your daughter gets it from somewhere, and she's
I
really
don't
good.
know. Maybe she does, but I'm not dancing. Singing, yes, and
Yeah.
Ritvik, they both sing. They both sing really, really well. But
He does,
yeah, he
yeah.
does. But I don't know. I just never thought food would be my focus ever. I didn't think I would
Mm,
be here. I did. I'll say this. I think early 40s, late 30s, early 40s, I started thinking this cannot be it. Like, I cannot just be, my career cannot just be an IT professional. Like, it has to do something more. It has to mean something else. I have to do something else. Like, people always talk about, and
yeah.
then when I grew up, there was no social media. Like, social media is big now. Like, our kids are growing up with social media. And like, I'm much older
Yeah.
than you are. And I did not grow up with an iPhone or anything for them. I didn't have a cell.
No, I didn't have it till
There you
college.
go.
So
I had it after I got married. So I didn't know. Phone. I'm not talking about social media. A cell phone. Oh, the
like the Nokia,
Nokia
like the
press ones. Yes.
all right, you
3310
win
or
this round.
3330, something like that. Anyway,
Yeah.
but the more you got to see the world because of the rise of social media. Like, our world was very small. Our world was a newspaper and TV and what we heard from our friends and a little bit of travel that we did. Our world was not beyond that. But now, as social media was rising and as I was growing older, I started seeing a lot of people. I think I mentioned this earlier, like a lot of people doing a lot of things that talks about, going for what they really love, going after what they love and what they want to do. And that sort of bug bit me. It was like, I want to do something that I love. I didn't know what it was, honestly. 10 years ago, I had no idea I'll be here doing this with you. Zero.
You had that thought 10 years ago
I had the
that
thought
you
that I
wanted to
wanted to
do.
do something creative. I just didn't know what.
Um,
I didn't even think it was going to be food related, even at that time. I
yeah.
didn't think it was going to be food related at all. I thought it was going to be something. It's going to be some side hustle business or do something, multi-level
No.
market, call it multi-level marketing, like beauty products or this or Amazon affiliate. I mean, I have thought about everything, and none of that ever sat down with me. So this is not me. It's like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And that's another thing.
What
Like, I
makes
need to see
you
some
do it?
results very fast. I need to see something happen. If it doesn't happen, I abandon it fairly fast. So I fail fail fast. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I fail
Yeah.
fast. If I'm failing, I'm not going to keep
That
pursuing.
makes a lot of sense with everything you've said.
Well, like, that's when it started for me. It's like, as I started thinking, and I think this is the year, I mean, at the end of the day, it has to somewhere, I do believe what's meant for you will find you. I truly, honestly believe that. And I think it took almost all of 49 years of me living in this world for this whole path of my life to find me. It took a while to get here, but I'm happy that I got here.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm almost speechless. I think it's it's wonderful. I do think, and that's what I mean when I say your warmth and making people feel comfortable in their skin. This is what I mean. I do love the thought that what you want will find you. And I hope that's true for many, because I do say, like, I think a lot of people at some point or the other had that thought like you did 10 years ago, being like, I want to do something, or maybe something creative or something. But not as many kind of see it to fruition like you have.
I think that's the part people say, like, how do you do this? It was like, I just do it. I know it sounds so cliched, just do it sounds so simple,
It's cliche for a reason,
but
right?
it's like, unless
Yeah.
you do it, you're not going to know if you're good at it, you like it, you love it, you enjoy it, you don't enjoy it, you really, oh my God, why am I doing this to myself? All of those questions will get answered only if you do it. If you don't do it, and if you keep procrastinating and sitting on the fence thinking, oh, what if this goes wrong and what if that goes wrong, it's never going to move forward. Because there are
Yeah.
1,000 reasons. I'll tell you today, there are 1,000 different reasons I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. And believe me, some of those reasons do surface every now and then, especially the day off or the day after when I am barely able to move because I am so beyond exhausted. Some of these dinners cause me to be on my feet, not just the day off, even the day before. I'm on my feet from like 7 till 11 at night.
Oh my
And
God.
I'm someone who suffers with chronic pain. It's not something that I do comfortably. So it's not
Yeah.
like I have to wear like compression leggings and making sure that I'm comfortable and sit every half an hour, 1 hour to feel, physically able to do what I'm doing. So and I'm like, why the hell am I doing this? Sorry, I don't know if I should say hell, but anyway, why?
No, I think this is amazing because I think the whole first part of this conversation might seem sometimes, if you're really critical about it, might seem that we're saying it's serendipitous. You don't have to put effort, or you don't have to
No,
you
oh
don't
my
have to go out
God.
of your way. But I think it's that
Opposite.
combination.
It's the opposite.
Yeah,
If you ever
I'm glad
decide to
you.
follow your true passion, when I'm saying true twice, is because like it has to really mean something to you. None of us are being
Yeah,
forced to do what we're doing here. Like you're putting yourself out here today. You don't have to do this, right? You
yeah,
don't have to take this time and effort to prepare and build something from scratch that you're starting to do today, right? I don't have to do it. And I've actually asked my family too, because it's not just me. It affects the three of them as well, because they show up every single month, sometimes
right.
twice a month. They show up at least the 2 days of supper club. They're all present, especially the men in my life. They show up. Ria, because she's still in 10th grade, she has a lot of schoolwork and stuff. So she's not able to do as much, but she shows up on the day off.
But it's a community
Community,
effort.
it's a family effort. Like we
Yeah,
just now have started hiring some extra help to help with certain things because it's getting the tables gotten bigger. We have a lot more people now. It is getting tougher to just be the four of us. But I have asked them, I was like, is this too much that I'm asking of you guys? Is this a lot? And they all come back saying that you are really, really good at it. And I don't think you should stop. That's their response. But I have questioned myself, like, why am I doing this to myself? My feet are swollen. My hands are swollen. Like I have like water retention issues. Everything is hurting. If I sit, it hurts. If I stand, it hurts. Everything hurts. Sometimes I'm popping Advil and, Tylenol and getting through the day, but it hurts. It's not all bed of
yeah.
roses.
Sunshine and
No, it
rainbows. Yeah,
looks very, I can confidently say the table, when it's set and when we serve and when we present it to the people, it comes across as effortless. I'm hoping it comes across as effortless.
it
That's
does.
because there's a lot of effort that has gone behind it. So, to the people who are wondering whether it is the supper club that they want to start or anything that they want to start that they're passionate about, it's never 9 to 5, ever. I am working on, you say I'm savvy on social media. Every bloody reel takes about 4 hours for me to get it out there. That's how much editing, because Ria would record something that is 2 hours or 20 minutes long. I have to shrink it down to like 30 seconds. So you can imagine how
Wow.
much cutting I'm doing. It's only 2 minutes, but 2 minutes is very, very long in social media.
Behold my future after this podcast recording.
So all evenings are gone into like, okay,
Yeah.
what's the next reel? What's the caption? How am I going to do this? How am I going to edit this? What angle do I need to shoot? I'm still not there. I'm still not a person who thinks about, I'm out on a walk, I should shoot this. I'm out at an event, I
Yeah.
should capture this, I should capture that and add it to one of those social media reels or edits. My mind doesn't work that way because I've not built my brand on social media. My brand is
You're
built
not a
around the
social
table.
media.
My brand is
Yeah.
built around food. So it's hard for me to
Yeah.
do that. But there are a lot of people who are very, very good at it. But what I'm trying to say is like, it needs to mean to you so much that you will miss it if you lose it. You'll not break down, but you'll miss it. Like I'll miss if this goes away from me, I will miss it a lot. And I want to keep pursuing this because I do feel like we found some success here. I feel like people are wanting to come to the table and there is demand outside of our small friends community. And I think there is something there. And now we are realizing, okay, we can actually fill the tables without our friends. So let's keep going. But it's purely because we enjoy it. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it.
That keeps you going. That keeps you wanting to do this and doing it in a way that's pretty much feeding yourself as well.
Yeah.
It's at the end of the day filling a cup
Yeah.
for you that you really needed to. One thing, whenever you talk about your family support, it genuinely moves me. It's quite emotional because I do think, especially for a woman, a community support is so important. A family support is so important. And in a lot of ways, like we come from South Asian backgrounds, like in a lot of ways that makes or breaks something that you do successfully.
100%. Yeah.
And I have seen firsthand, not just the rest of the supper clubs and social media, but the ones that we came to, the first one, which we were very privileged to be there, how supportive, literally and figuratively, your family is. Your son is
Yeah.
at the table, your husband is right there. And as you mentioned, it started from the very conversation of the get-go. And I think that's incredible. And that's something that, we sometimes don't know until we have that conversation, that there is so much support ready to be given to us.
Oh my God. I don't think I can do this without them. I really don't. Like, I just find it, and sometimes I think I take it for granted because they just do it. They don't question it.
Yeah.
They just show up. They just show up and they're there. They don't make it a big deal out of it. I think we've had 2 dinners out of the 12 that we've hosted where one of my kid is missing because either one is
Yeah.
in camp or somebody had an exam or something like that. But other than that, I think the first dinner Ria missed because she was at a camp, and second dinner Ritvik missed because he had an exam or something in October. But other than that, I mean, they have been there from the beginning. They have never really not shown up.
And it's a reflection, rather. I think it's a reflection of how much you put into your family. And
I hope so. I really hope so because sometimes, as I said, I do feel like I ask a lot out of them, but they do see the success of it. They do see how people are coming and how people are willing to pay no matter what they want. Like whatever I'm putting out there, people are willing to pay for that because there is that there is that reputation out there that this is something different. This is something unique that's happening here in Oakville that's probably not happening anywhere else. There are supper clubs in
that's
Toronto
true.
which are doing really, really well and they're doing amazing. I have a lot of respect for a lot of people who are doing this. One thing I'll say, anybody who's running a supper club, I have nothing but respect for these people because I obviously personally know how much effort goes into this. This is a lot of work. This is a lot that goes into it that people who sit at the table sometimes don't see it. But I also have privilege of having guests at the table who have really seen it, appreciated it, and said, like, I cannot believe how you come up with all these unique recipes or different ways of presenting things. Or what
I don't
do
know
it
if I've
once
said
a
this.
month. Like, can you do it more? And I was like, yeah, but it takes me months to get to a recipe sometimes. It's like I can do
One,
more.
the one that we came away, and my husband is a big foodie, you know this. We came away wondering if there was better fusion food we've ever had. It was incredible. And we were talking about portions, maybe on things that you kind of like worked
Yeah,
through.
that's it.
There was a lot of food, and
Yeah.
but all of our plates were licked clean. It was incredible. So 100%. And you mentioned as well, like at times you wonder if you're asking too much of your family, and that goes into that, taps into that guilt that we talk about sometimes, and it goes hand in hand with the fact that women especially have a lot of identities, and they play a lot of roles in their lives, and it's always, are we sacrificing one for the other, or is it the right balance for us, or we're not 5 people at the same time, we don't have more than 24 hours in a day, more than anyone else.
I think
And
one thing I'll say is I'm also trying to show to the kids in my house, at least my kids, is they can go after whatever they want and they can go earlier in their lives as opposed to wait to be 40 or 50 to start something. Like, I want them to think, not wait for permission. Like, really don't wait for things to like fall into place. Like, I'm hoping there's a tiny bit of inspiration that they can take from seeing me, seeing kind of like he does his own business on the side, like how we are putting ourselves out there at the stages in our life where we could have easily put our feet up and say, you know what, to your point, we're going to be empty nesters in 2.5 years. Now Ria's going to go to university and we can be comfortable. We can go out, we can travel. We don't have to take on all this work, but we enjoy the challenge. We like doing new things. We like to put ourselves out there and see what we can accomplish more. And I'm hoping that I don't need to inspire the world. If I can inspire my kids, I'll be very happy. Something.
I think you can't help but inspire people. see it. So that's probably out of your control. One thing that I wanted to talk about, and we've talked a bit about this before, is, you're talking about not converting this, naturally getting this to a place, like the next step here, what the future holds for the supper club
Yeah.
is it's a business at the end of the day. People pay to come. I don't know if many people realize this. That's what it is. It's coming in and eventually converting this into a business. And you and I have talked about how the financial knowledge or education or business education, we wish we'd had more of it as we grew up. Even what it means to run a business, or what it means to have your savings, or invest them, and stock markets, etc. There's a lot there, and I will be doing a few podcasts on some of these aspects as well. But we've talked about this, and how it's, you wish your kids have that understanding and knowledge as well, like
Yeah.
have a business mindset as they're growing up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, well, there are two ways of looking at it, right? Like there are certain aspect, a certain, call it business, or certain paths that you take that are purely business minded. Like you're doing it
Mhm.
to start a business, to run a business. Like the
Yeah,
work that Kanan's doing on his side, that is purely a business side of things.
sure. Yeah.
What I have done, I didn't start it from a business mindset. Truly did
Yeah.
not. I did not care what I charged people. I did not care what I did. It was never about money for me. It was purely about, I just want to cook. Just let me cook. Let me come up with new things.
Yeah.
Let me enjoy my time in the kitchen. Let me come up with new things. And then I
Yeah.
just want to have people come at the table, enjoy the food, appreciate the work that again, it's not about them appreciating me. It's more about just enjoying the food that I'm putting in front of
Sharing.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
sharing it beyond just my close circle of
Yeah.
friends. I never really started it from that perspective, like I need to make money, right? And as I said, like I was going to do it for, like, let me try this for a few months and see where it goes, like 2 or 3 months, and then I'm bored and I'm going to shut it down, or people aren't going to show up and we're going to shut it down. And even now, every single table, it has, from whether it's 6 or 16, we have sold out every single table weeks before the dinner.
Mm.
I'm still nervous about selling out tables. I still get nervous about selling out tables. I do it every single month. And my family's like, oh my God, why do you do this to yourself? Why do you do this to
Nervous?
us?
What?
It comes across as I am not, but I am always, always nervous. I still remember, I think for the month of March, I was not going to do a separate club. We had some travel plans, obviously got
Yeah.
canceled because of all the world events. And I said, you know what, I'm going to just do a separate club. I announced it last minute. I was like, I'm going to just get like 5 people, 6 people. At that time, we were still hosting at home, and we had the capacity of 12. And last week, 5 people showed up and became 12 again.
Yeah, it seems like it's on autopilot almost,
No,
and I
it's
know that's
not. It's
not doing
it's a
justice to
stress.
it.
It's a stressor every single month.
So I just messaged you after the fact. I'm like, oh yeah, there was a supper club on Saturday. How did it go? And you're like, it went amazing. And I'm
After the
like,
fact, yes, it's like getting to it. After the fact, everything feels good, but it's like
I know.
getting to it. It's
Yes.
it's nerve wracking.
I
And I think again, the nervousness is all about, is the table going to get filled? Are we going to have enough people? And I
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
see, there are people out there who are putting so much heart and soul into their effort, and sometimes the tables don't get filled, and that's going to happen at some point to all of us. At some point, the table's not going to be full to the capacity, right? Knock on wood, I'm very, 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 very grateful that my tables have been sold out every single time, no matter how much I've extended the table so far. They've always sold out.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that it never happens, but I'm also prepared that at some point
But
it might happen. And I'm like starting to build a minimum threshold. Like, if this many people are showing up, I'm going to run it. If not, then, we need to probably reconsider that. Anyway, but it's not something that is very natural. It's not easy for me. I'm still very nervous about every single month. Like, am I going to have enough people at the table or not?
that's a crux of that business sense that we're talking about.
I did not start with thinking that this is going to make money. This was all about just sharing the food
Yeah.
with the community. But now coming to where it is, and I'm walking a very fine line of, I still wanted to feel communal. I still wanted to feel community based. I still wanted to feel like I'm trying to create things that I want to share with the community. And I'm still trying to do that. But at the same time, elevating the experience to a point where it does feel premium, where it does feel like
Mm.
they're coming to something special. It's not that, a home cooked meal anymore. It's not something that your mom's cooking. One thing I've striven for from the beginning is try to make things that you don't get to eat in a restaurant, or probably your
Yeah.
mom didn't make it. And maybe they did. I mean, there might be somebody who's doing what I'm doing or similar recipe. I'm not saying I'm the only one doing any of this, but I'm trying to think of things in a different way so that you get to eat it in a different way. Like if I'm making
Yeah.
like a
And you're the
potato
only you doing
pave
this,
chaat, or
right?
potato
Yeah.
pave in a tomato sauce as opposed to like the French doing with butter. Like I'm trying to do different things in different ways. So that's been one of the areas. But now I'm trying to, okay, like it has taken up so much time. It is taking a lot of time in my life. It is taking a lot of effort in my life. So I'm starting to now kind of work through, okay, I don't think it's ever going to pay the bills. Let's be very clear on that. If I'm just hosting dinners, it's never going to pay the bills. That's it. It has to grow into something else for it to really, let's say,
Yeah.
if I want to ever replace my 9 to 5 job.
Right.
It's not even close. It's not even 10% close of that. So we have to continue to do the 9 to 5 to pay for all the all the bills that we still accumulate. But
Right.
what I'm trying to do is obviously recover the cost, recover the rental that we pay now for the space that we are hosting now, the help that we have started to hire, the grocery, the wines, the liquor, and everything else that goes into it. I think at the end
Yeah.
of the day, if you actually pay myself and pay my family for all the effort they pay, we are probably going to go under. We are going to be in negative for sure. I think the math I'm
Why
trying to
don't
do is
you?
I'm not paying myself. That's the main thing. We are
No.
not paying
Yeah.
family or myself right now, so we feel like we are making some money, but really we don't. Really we don't. None of
Yeah.
my stuff. I'm not at a stage where things get sponsored for me. Like everything is out of pocket. I'm not
Mm.
at a stage where I'm collaborating with people, or I don't have anybody sending me stuff and it's like, use this for your supper club or that. Nothing like that. It's everything is
Yeah.
out of pocket at this point. Will it change in the
It,
future? Maybe. I don't know. But
that's what I was thinking, and and it sounds like a venture that hasn't. It's not from a financial step forward
no.
perspective. It's not like here's a venture to make money. It's really all heart.
Yeah.
It's really just the want to have wanted to do this, and then let it kind of take a life of its own as well as
Yeah. So
it
I'm
grows.
letting it grow organically wherever it grows. Like,
Yeah,
the butter thing
that's
happened.
the word.
Like the butter thing
Yeah.
happened at the table with you guys. You guys were the first people,
Tell me a little bit about that.
right?
Yeah.
We started putting flavored butters on the table. And
Yeah.
we did some basic South Indian flavors for our first Tamram dinner with you guys, and it just took off from there. And every single dinner, I have tried to come up with butters which are tied to the theme.
Mm.
I still remember for the March dinner, which we did more of a London Indian fusion kind of a thing. I always really
Yeah.
enjoy food in UK. Like I find Indian food in UK is like next level. It's really, really well
Yeah.
done. They do a great job. I mean, not as good as India, but definitely really
Outside of India. I wanted to give that disclaimer.
outside
Yes.
of India. But they really do an amazing job. And I really appreciate the colors and the subtlety and, the lavenders and the purples and the
Yeah,
pinks and spring in London
absolutely.
kind of a thing. So I wanted to do like Indian spring in London kind of a theme. And I did Earl Grey butter. And it was so out of the blue. I have never done like a steeped butter before that it was all about like bringing different flavors and mixing it with the butter, and I'm done. But I started with that flavor. I was like, how the hell am I going to put tea in a butter? So that took a bit of a research on my side, that took a lot of trial and error on my side, but that became call it a viral moment if you want to call it that. But it really kind
Instant.
of took it to the next level. And the butter
Yeah.
thing actually became bigger even before that. I think when I did my Rajasthani dinner back in November, one of my
Yeah.
friends, Vaish, the other Vaish, she said, you know what, when they had come for
Yeah.
dinner with their friends for supper club, some of her friends were like, can we take the butter home? And that started happening every time. They were like, can we take the leftover butter? So I'm like, sure, take it. It's on the table. If you want to take it, take it. I used to give them leftover boxes and they take it home.
Yeah.
So she called me the day after dinner and she's like, hey, I was thinking, can you make a box of trios for me? I want to do like a 12 box or 20 box. I can't remember how many she ordered. She said, I want to do this as a Christmas gift because it was right like at the November cusp, holiday season starting.
Yeah.
Didn't think there was any like future to this, but it just sounded like it was really her idea, not my idea to even make this into,
Talk about organic,
right?
right? Yeah.
It was never even my idea to sell butters outside. Like it became a product coming out of the table on its own. We never really thought about it. It was 100% credit goes to her saying, hey, I want to do this. Can you do this for me? And I can do it. I said, okay. And then she said, like, you should post it on social media once I'm done.
Mhm.
I'm like, sure, I'll do it. And then I did her box set. I said,
I mean, credit to her for that, but credit to you for innovating onto something that actually just
yeah,
organically
absolutely.
people
Like, I
would.
think it takes a village, right?
It
That's what I'm
does.
trying
Yeah.
to get to. I'm not trying to like not take credit for things. There's a lot of work that I've put in. 100% agree, but it takes a
Which,
village.
like, women are really great at not taking
Yes,
credit
it
for
takes a
things.
village, but right to get it out there.
Yes.
It's not something
Yeah.
everything has to be. Again, people have to stop worrying about like I have to be the idea originator for everything. I don't even know if that's a
Right.
real term. You don't have to be creating everything from scratch in your head. If someone's giving you an
Yeah.
idea and you feel like it's authentic and it works for you, run with it. See if you can execute it.
Mhm.
Doesn't work, but there's no harm in trying. Anyway, so we did her, I think I did 12 or 20 boxes for her. And then we came up with like a pricing tier and I put it out there. And I think if I had the number right, we sold about 75 to 80 boxes that season.
I think you told me
First
that. I was
Sorry, Ria was
flabbergasted.
tired packing. Ria did all the packing for me. It's like we
And
did
the
all the
packaging and
yeah.
everything that went into it.
So we
It's a business on its own,
it's a
you
business on
know,
its own now.
and
So we did another one. Then back in spring, we said we'll drop a small batch in spring. We did about like 30 boxes.
yeah,
We didn't want to take on too much. So
yeah.
we did it after Easter weekend. Probably not the best business move. Could have done before. It would have been a good gift for Easter. Anyway, we did what we
Mm,
did, and then we did about 30 boxes for April. But this comes up. This is like one of those organic things from a business standpoint that it kind of
yeah,
took on its own life. Like now people want
exactly.
butters. Now I've been told that at dinners I should have a few boxes ready to go on the flavors that are at the table because
I
people
think
want to
I'm
take them.
guilty of this. My business brain just kind of like runs
I,
through it,
I
and I'm
just
like,
I run out of gas though. I'm so tired by the time I'm like ready for
yeah,
dinner. I'm just like, I don't want to
that's fair.
package it. I don't want to, I don't want to package this. I don't want to do this. It's like so many logistical things I have to think about. If I have to put butters out to sell at the dinner, it becomes
Mhm.
a bit it becomes a little too much for me. So I need to kind of get over
And
that
then,
hump and eventually it'll get there. Eventually it'll get there.
but I think it's also like, you know, you're very clear about when you're overextending yourself and when you're not,
Yeah, I don't
so
want to
that
do
it
that.
makes it
Yeah,
possible.
yeah. Like even this month, we said we didn't even know we were going to host in June because of all the exams and everything else going on in our personal lives, and we did two in May, back to back weekends in May, and we have moved out of our home now, so that's an added layer of complexity. So we said we're probably not going to do in June, but we are doing one end of June, like 27th. Again, not sure, wasn't sure if it was the right move because of the long weekend, Canada Day, US holiday, all of that, but long and behold, we're sold out. Happy to report that, and we're good to go. But there was this 1 week of nervousness. I'm like, am I going to get? Am I? People are actually going to show up or not? Yeah,
There's something to be said about just putting yourself out there and then taking in what comes back as, you know, as something you just own and run with.
yeah.
Positive, negative, anything. It's, this is this is an excellent conversation, and I want to bring it to a point where, you know, we talked about a lot of aspects of what went into your supper club coming into life and the vision for it, the ability for it to still remain warm and cozy while it's growing now, and what it holds for the next steps. I kind of talked about what it holds for the next steps, but I want to hear from you as well. Like, what's when you look forward, what's the next thing here? What are you looking at?
A couple of things. I think one thing which is very near and dear to both of us is to do a pop up in Toronto.
Yes,
We've talked
yes.
about this a few times, so I want to do that. And I think
This is
now
a natural
a
next.
natural
Yeah.
extension. I think I feel a little bit more confident than I felt 2 months ago. Now that we've actually moved it out of our home, even though it's in
Mm,
Oakville, it's not out of Oakville yet. It's still in the neighborhood in the
yes.
community. Um,
Yeah. We've been talking about
We've
this
been
from
talking
before,
for
but
about at
yeah.
least 3 months now, right? 3 to 4 months. We've been talking about this. We actually booked something and then we canceled. We've done all of that. So I'm hoping to do a couple of pop-ups a year in Toronto at least. Like I think I want what I'm
Mhm.
realizing it is I was very nervous moving it out of the house because
Right.
the way the
I was
table is
thinking
in
of
my
that.
house, the light, the pool, everything, like everything played a part in making the table look the way it looked. And I was very worried that the moment I move it out of my house, it's going to lose that. That was my biggest fear. And I think we've overcome that. We've actually gotten very clear feedback from people who have shown up to the venue outside of our house, actually called out and said, especially the people who came to the first dinner outside our house, and it's like they were very concerned because they saw like it's in a building and like different space and all of
Yes.
that, and they said they were worried about how it's going to feel, and they felt like this is portable. This experience
Yeah.
is now portable. So long term vision, 5 years from now, would love to be a traveling supper club. 5 years from now, love
Love
to
that.
travel, would love to host in India. I like what really blows
I
my
think I haven't
mind.
heard this before.
Yeah,
I
what blows
was
my mind is people from India, like Bangalore, Chennai, Bombay, they message us like, okay, we can't come there. Are you ever going to host in India? I'm like, oh my God. It's like three people saying this, but I'm so humbled. I'm so grateful to those three people.
they are the front for like 20 more people who
And they
are
will,
thinking it.
right? And then I got a message very recently from someone who's coming to Toronto in August from New Jersey. And she goes, do you have dates for August? I really want to see if I can book my travel around that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I am just blown away. I will let you know the dates as soon as I can because I'm so spur of the moment.
Yeah.
I don't plan like 3 months out. I plan for the month and then I'm like lost in the month. I don't think beyond. But anyway, 5 years, that's the 5 year vision. But immediate vision, just to answer your question, definitely want to do pop ups in Toronto. Would love to have opportunities to probably,
This is the first time you're telling this to me too.
yeah, collaborate with like, maybe even some small restaurants. Like if they want to open the door and like want
Yeah.
do a different vibe for the supper club, we can do
Hmm.
that. The other thing that really excites me is taking on some of the private events as they come up, like special
Right.
events, like someone's turning 50, a baby shower, a wedding shower,
Mhm.
or celebrating someone's engagement again, but would love to take on challenges like that.
This
Go from there.
sounds,
It
yeah,
feels
so
organic.
organic.
Yeah, exactly. We said the same
Yeah.
thing. It feels
Yeah.
organic to get to that level. And then the other small lane that I'm thinking is like, what is the product that can come out of Supper Club? The one thing we have started exploring now is the chili oil. We did
What
a
is
curry
this?
leaf garlic chili oil for the May Supper Club. And we had a couple of people saying, like, okay, you could have had a couple of bottles for us to take it home. I was like, yeah, I could have. I
Mhm.
didn't. Again, it was just the logistics that held me back because I felt like I was
Mhm.
overextending myself. But this was again,
Yeah.
I built this for, I created a small batch for my friends for Mother's Day. And I gifted it to them. It's like, just give me feedback. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me
Yeah.
how to fix it. Tell me what to do. And of course, some of them came back and gave me like very specific feedback on this needs to change, that needs to change. This is how you can make it better. The taste was great, but this is how it can be better. And it became better. I'm eating a
Yeah.
whole lot of it because I made a big batch of it. I could have easily packaged and sold it. I eat it every day with my eggs now. But that's the other piece, like, thinking product lines. Are there things that I can think about? But it has to feel organic. I don't want to push it. I don't want to
Yeah.
like, suddenly become this, I'm creating spice mixes and this and that and everything. If it makes sense, I'll do it, but I won't do it just for the sake of it. It has to start at the table. For me, everything originates at the table. The butter originated at the table. The chili oil is staying at the table now. So trying to bring other things at the table that we can then think about potentially taking it to the next level. So that's what the future looks
Oh,
like.
I
At
love
least
it.
I see it that way.
Yeah. And I know for sure that you've looked at it from an organic perspective because we've talked about some of the supper clubs where someone's birthday is being celebrated or there's a event, and that's just a really great way to go down those paths and feel yourself comfortable doing that as well as pushing yourself a little more. It reminds me of, when I first started working, one of the management directives were, and they can always be a little stodgy or a little removed, but this one was being uncomfortably excited. And it's true. You're excited, and you know you want to do that, and it's in your capability, but it's pushing a little bit of the boundaries a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
I love that. So, finally, this whole series is about charting an unscripted path. And you don't only encourage this with having shown what you've done, but you've built it without a blueprint. So I want to ask you, what does without permissions mean to you?
I think for me, without permission really means This is a very personal thing for me. I think for me that really kind of goes back to stop waiting for approval from everyone. Stop waiting for, your friends to approve, your husband to approve, your partner to approve, your kids to approve, your father to approve. Like if you are passionate about something, go give it a try. You never know where it's going to take you. It might fail spectacularly, and that's okay. That's completely okay. But I think as women, and sometimes specifically as South Asian women, we definitely tend to wait for approval. We want everybody to like us. We have this big issue that, oh my God, I have to be likable and I can't be this person and I can't be that person, dress a certain way, sit a certain way, talk a certain way. Like we've all grown up with that. So there is nothing, I'm not saying anything new here or revolutionary here. I think it's important to just, as long as you're true to yourself and you really feel, and believe me, this has taken a long time for me to come here. I have not been true to myself for a predominant part of my life. I've always tried to mold myself into the situation or make myself in a way that I can fit into a group or at work or in the family or in this or in that. I've always tried to mold myself into things. I think only in the past few years where I have like really let go of all the, I don't want to say negativity, but the baggage and the weight that I was carrying. Nobody was forcing me. Believe me, it's no one's fault but mine. I don't blame anybody for this. I don't think my parents ever did this to me, or Karan ever did this to me, or friends ever did this to me. No one did this. I did this to myself. I felt like I had to mold myself to fit anywhere. I think I have also met few people in my life, present company included, and my daughter was like such a big part of the transformation in me. Like when I see Ria, I am blown away by the confidence that she has and how like unapologetic she is about herself and the way she is and what she likes and what she doesn't like. And I was like, oh my God, I would have loved to be that at 15. I wasn't.
The apple doesn't
I
fall far from
wasn't.
the
I
tree.
wasn't. It took, that's what I'm saying. It took me almost 49 years to get here, or, almost
Yeah.
45 years. Let's put it that way. Like, it took me a long time to get here to feel really be comfortable in who I am. I still remember when we did the Morpheus program at work for leadership. One of the things that, we talk about the balcony and the basement effect and all of that. And I was talking to the coach at that time. And there is this one session in the whole program where we talk about like it goes really deep. Like it goes to places, the conversation goes to places that you never visited for decades in your life. And that for me went all the way to my kindergarten days, my very, very young days. And it's like I never felt good enough for anything. Like that's where it started. And it stayed with me till almost mid 40s for me. So it takes a while. I'm like getting emotional a little bit here. But it is something that took me a while to really truly believe that it doesn't matter if I'm 15 pounds heavier. It doesn't matter if I'm darker, lighter, my hair is thick, my hair is thin, my legs are thicker, my legs are skinny. It doesn't matter. I think you are absolutely fine the way you are. I am not. I'm also someone who wants to keep working on myself, but also feel good where I am at. Like I've never stopped working on myself. I don't think you should ever stop working on yourself, but I think it's important to also, but it's also important to really accept who you are as well. And really be okay to put your authentic self out there. For me, my biggest success out of the supper club has been putting myself out there as I am, my authentic self. I dress the way I'd love to dress, like, wearing ethnic earrings. Even if I'm wearing a Western outfit, I love wearing ethnic earrings. I bring that Indian culture everywhere I can possibly get to. Like, I love bringing that fusion even in the outfits that I create. I love doing that, right? So I think it's putting yourself out there and really being unapologetic to who you are. I'm very happy to see so many younger generation when I go to certain events and I see younger people who are like in their 30s, you as well, 20s, 30s, who are so confident. And I'm sure they're battling their own issues internally. I'd be lying if I think that, or I'll be a fool to think that no one's battling their own inner demons. But it is so amazing to see that they're so unapologetic in their way that they put themselves out there. I think that is the key. You got to do that. You got to let yourself be authentic, no matter what version it is, and let the world see it. And you got to be you. I know it's so, again, I'm saying so many things that are cliche, but it has taken me forever to get here. And I'm hoping it helps like one person to like just shed that baggage and move forward.
I can not imagine that it doesn't move anyone like it has moved me. This is the perfect way to I think summarize or conclude this conversation. Although I can just keep talking. I feel like there are so many things that you said that I feel like I could go on forever. But in many ways, this is really why I immediately thought of you when I thought of this series. And I'm so happy to have you as a first guest, because these conversations we have, they naturally tend to flow into pieces of thoughts, I think, that just extend beyond our own experiences, or just our own, like my own small perspective or your own small perspective. It's really
Absolutely. Yeah.
be something bigger. And so thank you doesn't feel enough, but
Thank you. God, I just want to say this. I want to say that I am so beyond proud of you, of what you're starting now. I think every single conversation you and I have can be a
yeah,
podcast. It can be a podcast on its own. We talk so much about so many different things in life, whether it's in person or whether we talk on the phone. Like, we talk sometimes for an
true.
hour or two and it goes by, and absolutely adore the way you think, the way you present yourself, the way you're one of the smartest people I know. And I'm so glad you came into our world. And I know you came in through work, and I'm so glad you did. But I really want to wish you the very best. I think it's just the beginning. I think you're going to do amazing. And I'm really, really, really happy that you started after so many months of talking about this. Like, just do it. We're off to a good start.
Yeah. Perfect. That's exactly it. I know that there's just encouragement on both sides, and you don't only encourage me with what you've done, but you've shown me the path of what's possible with everything that you've done, and inspired me to do the same.
Right back at you, my friend. Right back at you.